we'll close the eyes. Relax the shoulders and the face. And invite all of your energy in, all of your focus into the present moment. Moving your attention to the breath. Just notice how you're sitting and how it feels to be in your skin in this moment. Taking in all the sounds around you. Inviting your breath to deepen down into the belly and the perineal floor. Setting an intention for your practice, bringing hands to prayer. Hands to the knees, palms face down. Bring the chin to the chest and roll right ear to right shoulder. Take a few breaths into the left side of your neck. And you can rock the chin up and down. Maybe look down towards your right shoulder and then up towards the sky. Just exploring any movement here. The left side of the neck, and up at the occiput. Even the jaw, you can open and close your jaw. And chin towards chest, nice and slow. You might pause for a breath with the head down and lengthen up through the spine again. So the chest will lift up to meet your chin. And left ear, left shoulder. Exploring any gentle movement here. Up and down. Look down at your left shoulder. And up at the ceiling. Open and close your jaw. And chin to chest. Take a breath into the back of the neck again. Elongate through your spine. Breathing up into the high lungs and the shoulder blades and collarbones. Follow navel in towards the spine as you exhale. We'll take 2 more breaths. So chin to chest, inhale, lengthening up the spine. And you might activate bandhas, drawing Muladhara Bandha up, Uddiyana Bandha and chin lock. Jalandhara Bandha. One more breath. And lift the head, sit up as tall as you can. Relax your shoulders. Finding Sukhasana, a seat of good space. So you're filling the body with the breath and a little bit of muscular initiation, if you will, with the bandhas, but it's not rigid. So let me show you the difference between propping the body. So let's say, you know, bring yourself back to sitting at the dinner table and your mom tells you to sit up straight and you muscularly push to hold yourself in. So this is nice and relaxed. So it's from the visceral body and from the inside out of lifting the pelvic floor, drawing navel in and up, and then Jalandhara Bandha extending, drawing the pit of the throat in and up to the back of the neck. So we're nice and tall and long and filled from the inside instead of it being an external push to hold ourselves up. So this way we can relax and find comfort. So if you would, please bring the bolster off to the side, and we'll bring the soles of the feet together for butterfly pose, and hold on to your toes. You can flap your wings here a little bit. I will inhale, lengthen through the spine, and exhale, fold in. Let's roll up and down the back a few times since we're still cold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, dive in. You might bring your elbows to the outsides of your shins. You can rock from side to side. Keeping the deep lower belly slightly active and engaged, so we're protecting the lower back. Folding in one more time. And inhaling up. So we want to warm up the body a little bit. So help the knees together. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see. And you can either hold on to the backs of the knees or hold on to the tops of the knees. And we're going to round the back as if we're coming into cat or as if we're about to lie down. And then spill the pelvis forward. You can widen the feet a little here. And spill the pelvis forward. Inhale. And exhale, round. Inhale. And exhale. Let the shoulders curl towards the ears, chin towards chest, navel towards spine. Inhale, spill forward. And exhale, round. Okay, now we're going to find a boat pose. So lifting the heart up and allow your toes to just peel up off the floor, and the shins will be parallel to the mat. You can extend the arms out. Hold it strong here. Activate the deep lower belly. And lower. So we're going to find Sukhasana. Bring your right heel in to the pubic bone and your left heel in front, and we'll fold forward. So I want to get into the hips today as well. So a little free flow movement and hip opening, some side planks. That's what's on the agenda. And we'll see how this goes. And then again, for those of you that are just joining us, the main focus of today is finding new ways to move on the mat. So I want to introduce things to you like quarter turns. That might be a new cue for you to follow. And it takes a little while to get used to, but once you do, it's really nice. So walk your hands from side to side. Through center. Coming on up, and we'll just tick-tock from side to side. So you can bring your right hand beside the hip, left arm reaches up,
And left hand comes down, right arm reaches up, so we're opening the side body. And you want to look up towards your lifted palm. So inhale, come on up, exhale, switch. You can pulse, inhale, come up, find length. And if you find a side that's a little tight, then you might want to work that edge. You can also come down onto your forearm to make that stretch a little deeper. And make sure the opposite hip is grounded. Okay. Now, taking the left knee up and gather the ankle and draw it back. So now you're in a figure 4, and bring your hands to your knees and we'll begin to circle here. So you can flex that left foot out to the side, or if that's too much, just point the toes back behind you. So a few circles in one direction, and a few circles in the other. You can bring this into the belly and up into the rib cage as well. Imagine that you're on the inside of a barrel and you're just rolling around. And again, if you find any areas that are sticky, it's where you want to explore. Just maybe even bring your hands there, give it a few breaths.
Roll the head around.
It's all connected. Now, for this, we're really working deeply into that left hip crease. So might even lift the hip up off the ground and then draw it down a few times. Lift that left hip up and draw it down. We'll take this into a twist. So left hand comes to the right knee and right hand back behind you. And again, you can lift that left hip up and down. Keep that going. And then when you're ready, ground that hip and start the twist, those tornado spirals through the torso, turning the gaze over your back shoulder. We'll take 3 breaths. Roll the back shoulder down. And then plant the palm. You're going to let that hip lift up now and carry that left arm with you. So inhale, lifting up, hips will go forward. Look back at your left hand. And exhale, release the hips. So here's where we're going to take that quarter turn. You're going to keep your hands over to the right hand side and come in to plank. So our first plank pose, again, still warming up. And rock back and forth on your feet. Finding a neutral spine, so tailbone comes down towards your heels. You might widen your stance just a little bit. Spread the fingers out as wide as they'll go. Heart forward. One more breath. Waking up the body, and then we'll lower the knees to the mat, heart between the hands for cat bow. Right, let's scoot all the way down onto our bellies. Bring the big toes to touch, and we'll find Salabhasana, but keep the feet on the floor. So bringing your hands back behind you, palms face each other. Let's take 5 breaths. Now we're waking up the back body. Relax your glutes just a little. And then we'll lower down, bring the right cheek to the mat, rock your hips from side to side to release any tension. All right, one more time, just lifting the upper body. So keep your toes on the ground, big toes together, and inner thighs squeeze as we lift up for 5 breaths. So expanding across the chest, and you might even kind of rock from side to side. Squeezing the shoulder blades together. Reach your fingertips down towards your toes. And release, bring the left cheek to the mat now. Rock the hips again. And this time we're going to bring the arms forward And lift both the arms and legs for full locust pose. 5 breaths. Good, and release. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and hips round back towards the heels for child's pose. And rock your hips from side to side. And natural seat. So bring your hips over to the left and swing your legs to the side of your mat again. We'll meet back in our butterfly pose. So holding on to your toes, 3 rounds. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, and exhale, fold in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, hinge from your hip creases, lead from the heart as you fold forward. Few breaths, and last one. And helping the knees together as you rise. A few rounds of cat and cow. So spill the belly forward, inhale, and then exhale, round back. Again, you might hold on to behind your knees. Inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, round. Scoop up the belly. And we're meeting in our boat pose. So side view here. Lifting the shins, extending the arms. Now if you're ready, if you're getting a little bit warmer, you can lift the legs coming into full boat. Paripurna Navasana. You might try and bring the big toes to touch, and then the heels together and the toes out, duck feet. Breathing here, shoulder blades down the back. Nice soft face, relax your throat. We'll find Sukhasana. When you're ready to come out, now bring the left heel in first and then the right in front. So lengthen up through the spine. And dive in. So sliding your fingertips forward, folding. And there's a little free flow movement. Take your hands from side to side. Oh, if you find a good spot, give it a big breath in. Don't be afraid to make some noise. So I like to encourage that in group classes. So maybe all together we can take a big inhale and let it out with an audible sigh. That's it, right there into the liver. Good, we're just moving energy. Come into center. Inhale, lengthen up. And we'll take that right knee up towards the sky now and gather the ankle. So sliding the hand down to the ankle and take the right foot back. So for more intensity, again, flex that foot flat. And for less, just point the toes back behind you. All right, so little figure 4, half frog, mermaid action. Lots of names for this position, if you will. And, you know, in my mind, a lot of these poses, you know, they're all the same. You know, the poses really appear, but they're oftentimes the same pose, just in a different place in space. You know, so we learn, so circles. If you follow my lead, circles here. You know, just exploring that right hip. So we have like yoga pose families. You have your standing poses, you have your seated poses, your twists, your back bends, your arm balances, inversions. You know, and at some point they all start to mix together. You know, I think of yoga hybrids. Like it's a standing balancing pose and a hip opener, or it can be a back bend and a standing balancing pose. So, you know, once we learn the rules of the practice and how to practice safely, then we can really start to let, you know, color outside the lines and let some of these practices and poses blend together a little bit. And a nice mandala practice is that blending of the masculine and the feminine, and the sun cell and the moon cell. So in teacher training, I tell them that hey, I'm going to teach you all of these rules, and then I'm going to ask you to forget them. So just letting you know. All right, so let's lift and lower that right hip a few times. All right, and really ground that back ankle and big toe. But let the hip come up and down. So and this can be really intense. It's seemingly simple, but we're getting deep into the right groin, its connection to the knee and the ankle. I'm sure you can feel that. And then we can start to take this into a twist, grounding the right hip down. Right hand comes to the left knee, and your left hand will come back behind you. You want the and I'll turn here so you can see, you want the external rotation of that left arm. So you can tent the fingers, you can always bring in a block to help you stay lifted, especially if you find that you're rounding or collapsing in the side body. So we'll lengthen and start your spirals from deep down in the lower belly, work it up into the rib cage, come up into the shoulders, and then begin to twist. So your head is the last to revolve. We'll pause for 3 breaths. Good. So unravel slightly. You're going to plant your left hand, and the right arm's going to sweep across the body as you lift that hip up. So tailbone draws under. You're reaching all the way through that right side body. Look up at your hand and take 3 breaths. When you're ready to come down, lower the hips. Now you're going to bring your hands over to the left side, and we're meeting in plank again. There you go. So back in plank, just another way of moving on your mat, and rock back and forth. Okay, so we're going to take this up a notch. If you come down onto your right elbow, and then down onto your left elbow for forearm plank, and then press back up. So as if you're climbing stairs on your hands. A little wheelbarrow. Left elbow and then right, switch it up. Up on your left hand, up on your right. Down on your left, down on your right. Up on your right, up on your left. Keep going. Down on your left, down on your right. Up on your left, up on your right. All right? And you can't really mess this up, just make sure that you switch. Okay. Now, to make this easier, you can always widen your stance a little bit, spread your feet apart. We're working these upper abs pretty good. Okay. Maybe come down onto your elbows for forearm plank. Pause. Keep breathing. And we'll lower down onto our bellies. When you're ready to come out, bring your hands beside your hips. This time we'll both lifting the arms and legs together. 5 breaths. Full Salabhasana. Locust pose. Now feel how the lower back is working. Relax your glutes some so that your lower back is doing the work. We want to isolate the back body here. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and invite the breath to rise up underneath your collarbones. Even filling some space in the back of the neck. All right, and then exhale, release. Now make a little pillow for your left cheek. Rock the hips from side to side. Good. All right, so this time we'll extend the arms forward. And if you'd like, you can even add a little frogman kick. Kick your feet, bring your arms up and down. Keep breathing. And you'll make a little pillow now with your hands for your right cheek. Rock your hips from side to side. And you might come back up onto your elbows for just a moment. I'll show you what I'd like to do next. So this time we're only going to lift the legs. But it's helpful if you bring your hands underneath you, palms down, and you're literally rolling your hip bone onto your forearm. Be mindful of your elbow because this can be, a little much. And so you're bringing your hands in, and your hip bones are on top of your arm bones. And lift the legs. So bring the chin to the floor. Palms press into the mat. Relax the glutes, get a little longer. And then release down. Hands underneath your shoulders, hips all the way back to the heels. Child's pose. Rock the hips from side to side. Making nice with your lower back. And natural seat. Allow your fingertips to drag. All right, so we're going to bring our hips off to the left-hand side now, coming back to the middle of the mat. Butterfly pose. Soles of the feet together. Inhale, lengthen. It's a little quarter turn. And exhale. Forehead towards your toes. And inhaling up. Take the knees together, plant the feet, hands back behind your hips, fingertips forward, and we'll come into reverse tabletop to open up the shoulders. So you're going to lift the hips up. Now your knees are pointing forward. If you have a block at home, I would encourage you to place it between your knees. Toes are pointing forward. So heel in line with second toe, knees over your ankles. Fingers spread wide, lifting the hips up. Now you can keep your chin towards your chest. Watch the belly rise and fall, or let the head go back. And lower down. Hug the knees in towards the chest. Curl into a little ball. Okay. Now here's where you're going to want to keep the chin in towards the chest. And make sure you have enough room. Again, a little creative movement today. So we're going to rock back and forth and pick up some momentum. So I'm going to move my tea so I don't make a mess. And I'll demonstrate first just to get you going. So rock back and forth. And then try and turn. Turn all the way around on your mat. keep going the other way. Woo! You can't not smile while you do this. You have to smile. It's mandatory. Mandatory smiling. Good. All right, so make your way back to your mat, and I'll show you where we're going. All right, so now we're going to rock back and forth in one direction. So whichever way you need to turn on your mat. We are going to rock back, like so, and then cross at the ankles, plant the hands, and step back into plank. All right, so I'll go to the side here. And then lower the knees, cross at the ankles, sit back, and rock. Cross at the ankles, step back into plank. Try that a few times. Lower the knees, cross at the ankles, sit back, rock. Cross at the ankles, draw your feet in, step forward into plank. One more time. Lower the knees, cross at the ankles, sit back, and rock. Cross at the ankles, draw in, and plank pose. Pausing in our plank. All right, now this time we're going to take the heels over to the right, and left arm will spin up for side plank. And left hand comes down, heels come up, take the heels over to the left, right arm comes up, side plank. And try that 2 more times. So right hand comes down, heels come up. One nice smooth twist pivot as the transition from heels up to down and from hand to hand. See if you can lift that left foot. So on the right hand, lifting the left foot. Now you can take yogi toe hold and draw that foot forward. There you go. Left arm reaches up. So now we are twisting. Good. And we'll meet an extended side angle. So you're going to bring that left hand down to the inside of the foot. Let your right foot, heel comes down. And you can always bring your elbow onto the knee or keep your hand on the inside of the foot and right arm reaches up and overhead. Good. And right hand comes down. Let's meet in wide-legged forward fold. So you're going to pivot on the big toe ball mound of that right foot. Walk your hands in. Hello. Good, plant the hands. And let's hop the knees together and apart. So you're hopping down into kneeling. And then out into your wide-legged forward fold, down into kneeling, out into wide-legged forward fold. And we'll meet in kneeling. Now I know you're probably facing the other direction. We're coming into camel pose. So tuck your toes under and reach back for your heels. Draw the hips forward and we'll come into camel or Ustrasana. For a few breaths. We're gonna let the head go back. So we're working up into our heart openers. And when you're ready to come down, hips to the heels, and just rest in child's pose for a few breaths. Full child's pose. Hands back by your feet. We can round into rabbit if you catch your heels And
Keep your chin towards your chest. Come onto the crown of your head.
and lift the hips up. Let the shoulders round. You're rounding the upper back. And then come on up to natural seat. Now for those of you that are facing the back of your mat, you're going to take a quarter turn to the right now. So bring your hips off to the left. Swing the legs around. We're finding boat again.
Boat's always helpful. Sending the legs out.
And we can add on each time, making it a little bit more challenging. Reach the arms up and over to the right. If you have a block, you can also take a block with you. Pressing your hands into the sides of the block. Inhale up. And exhale left. Now, your abdominal strength is really important for the health of your lower back. Okay, one more round. And release. So hug the knees in towards the chest. We're going to start rocking again. So hold on to the knees, round the back. Make nice with your deep lower belly. And we'll start that rock. So if you want to rock, around your mat, to put yourself in any position that you need to, and have a little bit of fun. And then cross at the ankles, shift forward, step back into plank. Lower the knees. Now try to cross the opposite foot on top. Sit back. Ooh, take the mat with you. Boat. To plank. Lower the knees. Boat. Sit plank. One more time. Lower the knees. Sit back. Boat. And plank pose. All right, so we're going to go from side to side. So you might just start by swiveling on the heels. Get this movement from the navel down. And then we'll add the upper body. So we'll take the heels over to the right and lift the left arm. Again, for more challenge, lift that left foot. And then lift the heels, left hand comes down. Lifting the right arm, side plank. Right arm down, a few more rounds. Now we're going to meet with the left hand down this time. Right arm up. Now lift the right foot. And then take your yogi toe hold and guide your foot to the top of the mat. There you go. Now we're coming into that twist. So find your back foot. Heel is up, toes are down. Ground the left hand. We'll take a twist open to the right. You want to sink down in that right hip crease. Draw your inner thighs toward each other. You can reach the arm overhead and get really, really long. Bend in that front knee. Now we're meeting an extended side angle, so you can bring your right hand down into the ground, or your elbow can prop onto your knee. Dial the left heel down and open up. So again, if you need a little elevation, elbow can come to the knee and we can work our way down towards the ground. Few breaths. draw you down. As you pick up your right toes, straightening the leg, dial down. We're meeting back in our wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Now you can take your peace fingers, wrap them around your big toes.
Malfunction. Good. And again, when you're ready to come out, plant the hands, and you're going to hop your knees to the mat for kneeling. I'm going to turn around so you can see. So pop out.
And this can be super fun. So this is another thing that you can't do without smiling a little. It's helpful. Alright, so we're gonna come down, and here's where I'll offer you a little bit of deviation. So you can either stick with camel. Now I'll give you another variation. So if you want to make this a little bit more challenging for yourself, so I'll give you a few. So you can always just lift and lower the hips coming into camel. You know, this is going to help to bring you later on from wild thing into wheel, which is what we're going to do next. So I'm really just, everything that we do in a yoga class is designed to prepare you for the apex. So here's level 1. If you'd like to come into another variation of camel, you can reach one arm back, prayer, maybe switch, half prayer, reach the other arm back, or bring both hands to prayer. And when you're ready to come out, rest in child's pose. You can roll into rabbit. Another variation for rabbit would be to interlace your fingers behind your back and roll the shoulders open. You want to keep all of your toes pressing down into the floor. So just taking another moment to finish up your camel and your rabbit pose. So pose, counter pose. And you're probably facing the back of your mat if we're following the flow. So then you take a quarter turn now to your left to come out on the other side. So meeting in our boat pose again. Reaching the arms up. Okay, so another variation, you can stick with the wood chopper side to side, or you can bring your hands back behind you, sit nice and straight, and you're gonna bring your hips over to, let's say, the left buttock, and then draw the knees in towards the chest. Inhale, extend, come back to center. Rock over to the right buttock, hug the knees in towards the chest. Inhale, extend, rock, and you'll swivel from side to side this way. So always offering new variations. You know, if you come in the same pose several times throughout a practice, like bow, then it's always good to add on more and more challenge. Now you can also, speaking of more challenge, you can also cross, 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 together and up. Cross, 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 together and up. Now cross the other way. Cross, 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 together and up. Cross, 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 together and up. One more time. Cross, 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 together and up. All right, hug your knees in towards the chest. And then we'll round back. Now Now here's where I'd like to offer wheel. So if wheel is not accessible for you, bridge is absolutely perfect. If you have some blocks, you can bring those in for restorative. And bring the heels towards your glutes. We can all actually start in bridge. So again, if you have a block available, place it between your knees. And this really helps to strengthen the ankles and the feet, believe it or not. And the knees. It gets everything tracking together. You can scoop out the deep lower belly. You know, if you have any muscles that have atrophied in the lower back or the lower belly, you might add a pelvic tilt here. Walk the shoulder blades in closer, start to get the hips higher. All right, and then if you'd like to come into wheel pose, your fingertips are towards your shoulders, elbows frame the face. Press down into the four corners of your feet, lift the hips up, and then lift all the way up. And let's take 5 breaths wherever you are. And then lower down. When you're ready to come out, hug the knees in towards the chest. All right, make nice. You're going to rock the hips from side to side. Maybe draw some circles on the ceiling with your knees. All right, now we're going to come back here in just a minute. But we're prepared for our apex now. You might already be done, and that's okay. But go ahead and rock up to seated, and I'll demonstrate where we can go with this now. So just 5 more minutes, and then we'll make our way into Shavasana. All right, so we did that rocking, back and forth, crossing at the ankles, and then stepping back, or you can even hop back into plank, move through a vinyasa, meeting in downward facing dog. We'll take the right leg back for 3-legged dog, roll the hip open, and coming into, this is a bit of a reverse tabletop, right? Now this might be your level 1, and you can lift and lower the hips. Or you can come all the way back into wild thing. So you need your ankles underneath your underneath your knees, not your nose. That's later. All right, so lifting the hips and reaching back. So again, that crossing the body, this helps to prepare you to transition. I'm going to turn so you can see, to transition from your wild thing into wheel. But you have to pivot on this hand. And then you're moving all over the mat. So it gets rather confusing, and this is why as we advance in our practice, we want to let go of the constraints of moving in any particular way. All right, so let's try that. So begin to rock back and forth on your mat. And again, you can cross a different ankle in front. Build up some momentum, and then try hopping back into your plank. Lower down through chaturanga. Inhale, lifting into cobra or up dog. And meeting in downward facing dog. Point the right toes back behind you. Sweep the leg high. Roll your hip open. Encircle the ankle. And you'll pivot. So you want to bend the left knee and pivot on the ball mound of your left foot. And here we are. Now you might pause here in your kind of crab pose, or what is this called? Reverse table. Now remember, if you're coming in, and therefore your fingertips will be forward, so you have to pivot on your hands the same way you pivot on your feet. So you can even try that. Get used to that there. So if you're coming into wild thing, your left fingertips are pointing back behind you. And you can pump the hips, lift and lower, take that right arm across the body, follow it with your gaze. And once you get this really big arc, and we're coming into a really awesome supported back bend, that's when you can pivot into wheel. But if you're not quite there, you have to get the energy up into the heart first. And that means the back body is supporting the openness of the front body. So big inhale, Reaching as far as you can comfortably go. And if you feel open and supported and stable and secure, then we can start to play with coming into our wheel pose. 5 breaths. Either way, we're all meeting on our back, however you'd like to get there. And when you come out, roll down and hug your knees in towards your chest. Start to rock back and forth, back and forth. So what we do on one side, we're doing on the other. Now we're facing in the other direction. That's good. This can get really confusing sometimes, but that's okay. Just let yourself get lost and trust that, you know, all the roads lead to Rome. You're going to figure it out. It's going to be okay. But, you know, even if you find yourself lost in your mind on the mat, and if you get irritated with that, that's the work. You know, can you be lost and still be cool with it? Cross at the ankles. Oh, I lost my momentum. Cross at the ankles and shift forward, hop back into plank. Now you can lift the hips into down dog or lower down, moving through your vinyasa. So meeting in down dog, left side now, lifting the left foot up. Roll your hip open, 3-legged dog, and bend your right knee. So you gotta bend it and pivot on that big toe ball mound, coming into either your reverse tabletop. Now you can always spin that right hand forward. Practice spinning your hands. Now, you know, you can do reverse tabletop with your fingertips back. That's cool, but it's best, I feel, to have that internal rotation in this pose, but every body is different, so find out what works for you. Now, if you're coming into wild thing or wheel, you're going to need your fingertips pointing back. So start with your right hand, point the fingertips back. Left arm's going to lift as you lift the hips up. Remember, you want your ankles underneath your knees. And then the left hand comes down. That's when you pivot on the right heel of the hand. 5 breaths in your wheel pose. And when you're ready, lower down. Hug the knees in. And we'll finish with a double pigeon. So cross the ankles, rock up to seated. Now you can either come into regular pigeon, maybe right leg first. So start with the right leg down, or if you'd like to come into double pigeon, take your left on top of the right. Hands on the knees, sitting forward, and we'll slide in. You might bring in a block for your forehead. You know, we want to support the body. Oh, no kitten. Oh, no pup. Only kittens allowed for Shavasana. He just wants to be your friend, kitten. She's like, I have no interest in dogs. Inhale up and switch sides. Switch sides. So if your left leg is on top, now we want to bring the right leg on top. And this is also called fire log pose. It does kind of put your hips, set your hips on fire a bit. All right, now you want to flex the feet. You know, my hips are definitely really tight, even with the years and years of practicing yoga. So that's okay. I like to put my, so they can see, I like to put my foot in the crease between the knee and the shin. But if your hips are more open, you might put your ankle up on top of your knee. Now, in order for me to do that, I would need a block there to support. So it's just nicer, a little more gentle for me to do that. So it might work for you too. But if you want to take it up, bring your ankle on top of your knee. So folding forward, cameo kitten. Maybe you have a kitten pillow like I do. You be my pillow, kitten. Be my pillow. I need comfort. So get into my hips. Yeah, so the hips can be storage depots for stress and tension. So, you might need a whoopee. Or a nice soft kitten. Or a block. Blocks work too. Just bring your forehead to the block. So we're winding down. A few more deep breaths. This is my therapy cat. Okay, now when you're ready to come out, inhale up. Make nice. Bring your knees together, feet to the floor, and you can kind of shimmy the hips from side to side, windshield wiper the knees, rolling on the edges of the feet. And we'll make our way onto our backs for Shavasana. So anything that you need to bring in, whether it's a bolster for under your knees, this is helpful, especially if there's tension in the lower back, or if you need a heart opener, bring the bolster behind your hips, like so, and lay back. Now, if you can always do both if you have a bolster and blocks. You might bring the block for right at the thoracic spine, kind of at the base of your scapulas, and then maybe one for the nape of the neck and the occipital ridge. So this is a great heart opener as well, if you have all the accoutrements, but whatever you need, we're just looking for ease and comfort. So we can give ourselves a few minutes of conscious relaxation in Shavasana and really integrate from our practice. We did lots of hip opening. We moved in a different way today. Maybe you got lost somewhere on the mat, moving from left to right, and the full 360 rocking back and forth. So we want to start to let the practice go. Take a big in-breath. Exhale it out. And just be for the next 3 to 5 minutes. Whatever's moving around you, just take it in, let it be. Allow the world to spin on its axis and observe all the movement, not only outside of yourself, but also inside. Allow the inner and outer world to blend together. So it's just movement and noise. Finding your inner stillness and silence. Imagine that you're on a boat and you're putting down your anchor, finding the bottom of the ocean. Tethering yourself to your center. allowing yourself to come back in. So nice and slow.
Roll onto one side, taking your time.
Maybe pause in the fetal position for a few breaths. Yeah. Let's just take a moment when we come to seated and think about all of our friends and our family and maybe even our fur babies that we're thankful for. Yeah, that no matter what, there's always something that we can practice gratitude, cultivate contentment, and find our anchor. So no matter what is moving on the surface of the ocean, and the boat swaying back and forth in the waves, that we can stay anchored in stillness. And even as we participate in the trials and tribulations and joys and excitements of life, that we can always find our center, and we remain tethered and anchored to the core of our being, which is peace and joy and gratitude. It's so easy to get carried away. So it makes the practice of yoga and mindfulness so important. So close practice by bringing your intention back to your heart space. And we'll finish with a round of Om, taking in a deep breath. Thank you for taking the time to join me today. Namaste.